Hey, welcome to Shift. I'm Elliot Reed, and I'm so glad you're hanging out with me today. This is the place where we take those little keyboard shortcuts we use every day and turn them into big shifts for our real, messy, beautiful lives. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been typing a website address into your browser? Maybe you just want to check the weather or a news site. And as soon as you type the first letter, the browser suggests a site you visited 3 years ago. Maybe it's an old hobby you abandoned, or worse, an ex-partner's social media page you promised yourself you'd stop checking. It's like the computer has a better memory than you do. It remembers exactly where you've been, even the places you'd rather forget. Today's shortcut is Ctrl H. On a PC, that's your history. We're talking about relationships today, and I don't just mean romantic ones. I mean friends, parents, even that weirdly tense dynamic you have with your boss. We're going to talk about why we keep ending up in the same situations and how looking at our history is the only way to stop the loop. Because let's be real, I've spent way too much of my life wondering why I keep ending up in the same arguments, whether it's with my wife or back when I was freelance writing for difficult clients. It's like I was stuck in a system loop, and I didn't realize I had the logs right in front of me to fix it. So let's look at the tech for a second. When you hit Ctrl H in Chrome or Safari, a sidebar or a new tab pops up. It's a chronological list of every single place you've clicked. It's objective. It doesn't judge you for spending 4 hours looking at vintage espresso machines. It just says, hey, this is what you did. It's a tool for navigation. If you found a great article yesterday but forgot to bookmark it, Ctrl H is your hero. It's the breadcrumb trail back to where you were. But in life, we often treat our history like a room we've locked and thrown away the key to. We want to move on, but as any programmer will tell you, if you don't debug the old code, the new program is going to crash in exactly the same way. In life, Ctrl H is about pattern recognition. Think about your relationship history. Does it feel like a series of random events, or does it feel like a greatest hits album of the same 3 problems? Maybe you always feel smothered, or maybe you always feel ignored. Just like your browser history shows you your habits, like how I somehow end up on tech forums at 11 p.m. when I should be sleeping, your relationship history shows you your default settings. Most of us try to change our lives by changing our partners or our friends. We think, if I just find someone better, I'll be happy. But if you don't hit Ctrl H and look at your own navigation history, you're eventually going to drive that new person to the same old destination. I have a friend. Let's call him Mark. Mark came to me a few months ago totally frustrated. He'd just gone through his 3rd breakup in 2 years. He said, Elliot, I don't get it. All my exes are so high maintenance and reactive. Why am I a magnet for drama? I looked at him and said, Mark, let's hit Ctrl H. We looked back at how those relationships started. In every single case, Mark was attracted to the intensity. He mistook volatility for passion. He wasn't a magnet for drama. He was searching for it in his search bar because that's what felt familiar. When we don't look at our history, we keep clicking the same sponsored links in our dating lives. We think we're exploring new territory, but we're just refreshing the same page. Sometimes the history isn't about who we choose, but how we react. A few weeks ago, my wife and I were in the kitchen. She asked me totally innocently, hey, are you going to use that specific pasta sauce for dinner? Suddenly, I felt my chest tighten. I felt criticized, like she was telling me I was doing it wrong. I snapped back, I know what I'm doing, okay? Whoa, total system crash. Later, I had to hit Ctrl H. I looked back at my history, not with her, but further back. I grew up in a house where helpful suggestions were often veiled criticisms. My history had programmed me to see a question about pasta sauce as an attack on my competence. By pulling up the history, I could see the log file. I could see that my reaction wasn't about the sauce, it was about a 20-year-old script. Once I shared that with her, the glitch disappeared. We weren't fighting about the sauce anymore, we were acknowledging the history. In tech, sometimes your browser gets sluggish because it's holding on to too much old data. That's when you clear the cache. In relationships, we do the same thing. We carry residual data from a toxic ex or a difficult parent into our current lives. If your last boss was a micromanager, you might treat your new supportive boss with suspicion. That's cache bloat. Hitting Ctrl H allows you to say, okay, that happened then. This is happening now. You have to see the history to separate it from the present. You can't clear what you haven't identified. All right, this sounds deep, but let's make it practical. How do we actually use Ctrl H in our daily lives without getting stuck in the past? Here are 3 small shifts. Number 1, the common denominator audit. Take 10 minutes this evening. List your last 3 major conflicts. Could be with a partner, a friend, or a coworker. Write down how you felt in each one. Did you feel small? Did you feel ignored? Look for the common word. That word is your history shortcut. It's the site you keep visiting. Just naming it takes away half its power. Number 2, the wait. Is this a script pause? Next time you feel that surge of heat in your chest, that I'm about to snap feeling, stop for 3 seconds. Ask yourself, is this reaction about what's happening right now, or is this a saved search from 5 years ago? Usually, if the reaction is a 10 and the problem is a 2, it's a history issue. Number 3, update your contact info. Sometimes we treat people based on who they were, not who they are. If you're struggling with a sibling or a long-term friend, hit Ctrl H on your perception of them. Are you still reacting to the person they were in high school? Try to interact with the person standing in front of you today, not their 2015 version. Here is your challenge for the week, if you're up for it. I want you to pick one relationship in your life that feels stuck. Maybe it's a little chilly, or maybe you just keep having the same circular argument about the laundry or the budget. Sit down and do a manual Ctrl H. Write down, when we argue about X, I feel Y because in the past, Z happened. Then, and this is the brave part, share it. Tell them, hey, I realized I've been reacting to you based on some of my old history. I'm trying to clear my cache so I can be more present with you. It's a game changer. It turns a you versus me fight into a us versus the glitch teamwork session. Looking at our history isn't about living in the past. It's about making sure the past doesn't live in us without our permission. You aren't your browser history, but you are the person who gets to decide which sites are worth revisiting and which ones need to be deleted for good. Thanks for hanging out with me today on Shift. My 3-year-old Lucy actually gave me a lesson in this today. She tried to put her shoes on the wrong feet for the 10th time, and instead of getting frustrated, I remembered my history of how long it took her older sister Clara to learn. I shifted from we're late to she's learning. Small shift, big difference in my morning stress levels. If this episode clicked for you, hit that subscribe button, leave a review, or send this to a friend who's currently wondering why they keep dating the same glitchy people. Next time, we're hitting Ctrl F. We're talking about find, specifically how to find courage and clarity when everything feels uncertain and you're searching for a way forward. Until then, keep it light, keep it real, and remember, sometimes all you need is a little shift.